Greetings YouTube. Today we're going to make a spear. Now I had seen something on Instagram where someone had taken a piece of angled stock. It was the variety you find with the pre-made holes in it. And they'd made a spearhead out of it by cutting an acute angle on it. And they'd actually bent some of the prongs on it, made prongs on it so you could actually make it for spear fishing, not just, it was a survival tool. So they were converting a piece of it, channel stock into a spear fishing spear, essentially. And I like the idea. I don't do spear fishing, and I'm not going to make a spear fishing version thereof. But what I am going to do is turn this piece of angle stock, which is from a salvage. So this cost me nothing. This was 100% free, and this piece of tubing, which has a grip on the bottom on one end, which I'm going to keep, and it has one of these thingies here because it actually is 3 different pieces of tubing I got from the same location, which fit into each other and make a really long handle. I don't need a piece of tubing that's a really long handle, but it's a nice piece of aluminum tubing, and it's really nice working with aluminum tubing, and all I'm going to be doing with this aluminum tubing is drilling holes in it. And I'm not even going to remove this. I'm going to leave that right there because it doesn't have any effect on what I'm going to be doing. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this off, because this is actually nothing I need. This is from a bed frame. I picked it up by the side of the road. It was just somebody wanted to get rid of it, so I took it home. And I have used a number of pieces from it to do things. In fact, I even used a piece of this here to make a support for an actual bed frame, because there was a bed frame that didn't have a support, and I had to make my own for a centerpiece, and I did out of one of these. So I'm going to cut this bit off, get rid of that, and then I'm going to cut an acute angle here. So I'm going to once I get that gone, I will figure out how long I want it to be, draw that in there, and I'm going to cut an acute angle here and then mirror that on the other side so we have one long nasty point, which I will sharpen eventually. Once I get the point, and then I'm going to figure out how long I wanted to make it, because I'm going to make it long enough so that the point is beyond the shaft. I'm thinking maybe 6 inches past the swell. And I'm going to drill 4 holes in the head and then 4 holes in here, but they're not going to be through holes. They're only going to go part way through because I'm going to use rivets just as a change of pace. So I'm going to use 4 1/4-inch pop rivets to hold this thing in place. And seeing as it's a thrusting device, I don't think the load on those 4 pop rivets will ever be an issue. Not that I'm ever actually going to use it as a spear, mind you. This is purely as an art project, essentially. Though it will be very, very dangerous piece of art when I'm done. Alright, so the first thing I need to do is suit up. Actually, first thing I need to do is check my phone. I think my wife may have just texted me. Then I need to suit up with some safety gear, cut off this, and I will recycle that bit, and then figure out the angle I want. Because again, I want it to be nice and acute. I want a nice, sharp, pointy spear. I ended up going with a 7-inch point because I actually tried 5 and didn't like 5, so I went to 7 instead. So I've got the it's roughed in, so now I'm going to get my, let me just use my flap wheel on that. There's not a lot of metal on there. I don't know, I'm going to get my grinding wheel, what the hell. I'll clean this up right to the line on both sides, and then I'm going to figure out how long I want it to be. I'm thinking I'm just going to cut it 6 inches from that mark. We'll figure that out yet. Once I get that done, cut it down, and then I'll have my final piece to work at, where I can start the sharpening segment of this job. It's actually, after I rough it out, I may do the drilling first. It'd be easier to drill it before I go and do the final sharpening. If I'm gonna be dealing with the sharp point, that's gonna be more dangerous than dealing with just a roughed out point. Yeah, so I'll rough it out first, and then I'll find out the length, and then drill the holes, and then we'll get around to the part where I sharpen it up. So I hopefully will not hurt myself. The holes are now finished, and they are centered on the middle of the shaft. So they're a 1/2 inch from the inside diameter of the wall, and which puts them 625 from the edge. So I am now going to drill the holes and rivet them. I decided actually to cut that end off because I just didn't like the way it looked. And I'm going to set this up so that it's going to be 1 inch. So the first rivet will be 1 inch from the end of the tube. The tube end isn't perfectly square, but I don't care. I did that, cut the line, and just went and tried to keep the blade as vertical as I could. So yeah, so I'm going to clamp this together, then drill, rivet, and then drill, rivet, drill, because I don't want to have to worry about drilling holes and getting things to line up after. That will be very cumbersome. So I'm just going to drill a hole, and then we're going to rivet it, and we're going to see what happens. I think I can pull this off. I really do. I'm hoping so. We'll find out. Okay, well, mounting the head was absolutely a success. It absolutely went together beautifully. This thing is mounted and it is not going anywhere. And I forgot to sharpen it. I should point out that I'm going to sharpen it now, but sharpening this when it's attached to the shaft, it is going to be significantly more difficult. I thought, you know, like, I got this whole thing all set, I know how to get this solved. And I solved it, and I forgot that I wasn't ready to solve it yet. Alright, well, let's put it in a vise and start grinding. And here we have the finished spearhead. So obviously this is an extremely simple design. I mean, it's just a piece of L bracket, which is ubiquitous. You can find this stuff anywhere. I mean, literally, it's in every single home if it's got a conventional Western style bed. You can find it by the roadside, as I did. You see it free on Craigslist all the darn time. These things are being given away every day, literally every day. I see the list. I know, I check Craigslist every day for free stuff. You can use the angle iron that has the holes in it. Doesn't matter. You can use any kind of angle iron that you want to use to create this kind of a head. And this is just a simple tool handle, but you could use a broom handle for this design. Obviously you wouldn't be able to rivet it because it wouldn't be hollow, but you'd still be able to affix this type of a head to a shaft and make yourself a very, very dangerous spear. Having a steel head means it's going to be very good at penetrating hide, even up to heavy clothing like, you know, leather and things like that without any difficulty. And this is going to leave a very, very nasty wound channel. This is not going to be a wound channel you're going to want in your body. Seriously. I don't know how well this thing would throw, or if it even would throw, because it being off-centered. I have no idea how that would affect the throwing characteristics of this kind of spear. I am not an expert at throwing weapons, but I know that having an offset weight is going to make it more complex. But I'm sure there are people out there who could pick this up and, you know, 5 minutes later she'll probably hit a target. But yeah, just came together so nicely. The rivets worked really well. The first one I actually had to kind of like muscle into a place, so I realized I just had to kind of work my drill bit in. So you literally, after drilling the hole, you just kind of dance your drill bit around in a circle, trying to just opening up that hole the teeniest amount so that the rivet will slide into place, and then you just tighten it down and you're done. And it comes out nice and clean like this. I think I like the look. That's one of the reasons I want this. I wanted to go with that clean look. And rivet guns are pretty common. They really are. I mean, lots of folks have smaller diameter rivet guns in their homes. I have a bigger, you know, two-handed design because I do a lot of 1/4 inch rivets. So yeah, nice design. Came out really cool. I'm going to take this outside, get some stills for this video, as well as my DeviantArt and my Instagram. If you don't follow me on those, you should. My DeviantArt is the permanent home for all the all the images of my builds, and my Instagram is great because not only do I post my builds there and interesting things I find, but I also post images of my adorable cats and occasionally my adorable wife. Alright, so thanks for being here for this build. I hope that you enjoyed yourself, and I hope that you will be here for next build.